Koba Hansen, Kwani Shlangi Uranium Film Festival in the American Southwest with Yahiki, Multicultural Alliance for a Safe Environment, New Mexico Social Justice and Equity Institute, International Uranium Film Festival. I am of the Red Bottom People clan, born for the African American. My maternal clans are of the Mexican clan, and my paternal clans are of the African American. And this is how I identify myself as a woman. From our sacred mountain, Madako Sleep, who is still under attack to this day. So I just want to just thank the various organizations that I mentioned earlier in the episode for having me here today. And with that, I'd like to start off with the song. This morning, we woke up to some snow. It's a little bit, but how many of you rolled in it? Anybody? Good. So the song that I would like to first share with you is called The Four Essential Elements. And the four essential elements is what? Let me ask you. What's the four sacred elements that we survive from? Hey, I like that! That's a good one. I like that. My uncle's the one who said that? Okay, yeah. So just like he's always said Nikkei or ABC, right? Okay, so I'm going to go right into the song and then right into my speech. So again, thank you very much for having me here today, and welcome everyone. Hey, hey, Johnny, hey, hey, oh, yes, I hid the net now, hey, 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 With gratitude, I welcome you all to Diné territory. Thank you for your work and hearts that brought you here today to meet and discuss solutions on how to slay monsters roaming the earth. In July of 1979, almost 11 million gallons of radioactive waste gushed out from a breached uranium tailings pond in Church Rock, New Mexico, located 30 miles southwest of here. The toxic sludge poured into the Rio Perco River system, which news reports at the time stated was sparsely populated, and the spill posed no threats to public health. Public health during that era seemed to only involve settlers living in urban cities, not the native people who relied on the river system for their crops, livestock, and drinking water. In the early 1980s, the Navajo Nation purchased land near Sanders, Arizona, now known as New Lands. New Lands was set aside for Diné families displaced by coal mining in Black Mesa and Big Mountain. Tommy Rock, a Diné doctoral candidate at Northern Arizona University, discovered water sampled between 2003 and 2015 from wells near Sanders are contaminated with uranium way above the federal limit. Sanders is downstream from the Rio Perco River system. The New Lands people were forcefully located from their ancestral homes and land kinship by coal mining, only to be exposed to uranium contamination in the place they were sent to. This but one heartbreaking story in the narrative of American exceptionalism and progress, the story of extractive capitalist industries around the world. The Diné people are not the only people poisoned by the fangs of capitalism. Our Apache and Pueblo relatives live downwind from the Trinity atom bomb test. The nuclear bomb threat upheld U.S. imperialism, sacrificing native lives and lands in the process. If we believe the so-called U.S. will hold itself accountable for the crimes to the land and its people, I direct our attention again to the Black Hills, stolen from our Lakota relatives, a sacred area that was promised to them in the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1868. In Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution, it plainly and simply states, treaties are the supreme law of the land. If land anywhere is valued for its extractive resources, such as the Black Hills, to Palestine, the U.S. doesn't give a damn about its Constitution. If the U.S. isn't accountable to its own laws, their so-called sacred texts, what choices do we have? The U.S. was never a moral authority. It only continues the settler colonial project in the name of capitalism globally. Recent U.S. elections promise hope, especially with historic wins by Native women, such as Deb Haaland and Sharice Davis, both of whom have been elected to Congress. I cheer their individual success and pray they slit the throats of these monsters roaming our lands. I pray they refuse to operate the machines of imperialism and capitalism that murder Native lives and lands. But instead, I pray, they refuse to operate the machines of imperialism and capitalism that murder Native lives and lands, but instead destroy the machines in the name of the world's poor, displaced, and dispossessed relatives. We don't wait on hope for change. We act together to demand it now. Yeah. For the Diné people here, we are often scolded for even thinking about fighting back. We are told to sit down, be quiet, and be thankful for what we have left. Don't dare to speak ill of the monsters stepping on our necks. The warrior twins weren't told to remain peaceful. They weren't told to bargain with or pray for the monsters roaming the land. They were given weapons made of lightning and rainbows, crafted by their mother and father to slay these monsters. They didn't start a nonprofit to heal the wounds caused by the monsters they allowed to live. They slayed the monsters that caused the wounds. Yes. Extractive capitalism continues to exist because it provides the false hope of economic security through the breaking of kinship with each other and the land. What will we do to restore that kinship? It's not enough to be present. It's not enough to listen. It's even worse to understand and resign our fierceness to the lie that this is the only way to live. Right now is a moment we must decide together on how to move forward on creating healthier lives for ourselves, our families, and our communities. What's the way forward? Our freedom is guided by Native liberation through indigenous feminism. But it doesn't mean we replicate or assimilate the violence of colonialism. Native liberation isn't just for Native people. It's for all relatives of the earth. We cannot be seduced by the false promises of peace through economic self-determination by land destruction. Profit is never a measure of how healthy we are. It's a measure of how unhealthy we have become. We must be anti-profit. And yes, that means we must be anti-capitalist and anti-colonial. There is no such thing as good capitalism, because capitalism relies on sustaining the harm of another. Capitalism relies on us being bad relatives. There is no way to sue the monster that thrives from the blood of the poor and the lands they live on. Once you overcome your fears, you will see the millions who stand with you. End the false belief that only the individual is capable of changing the world. It is in fact the collective will and kinship of the good people of the earth that will create change. End the cult of healing, which is an opiate that only numbs our struggle for liberation. The land and the people will never be healed if capitalism exists. We will never be healed if capitalism exists. We will never be healed if colonialism exists. We will never be healed if colonialism exists. We will never be healed if patriarchy exists. We will never be healed if patriarchy exists. We will never be healed if racism exists. We will never be healed if racism exists. All four are enemies of the Diné, and we must destroy them together. This is the only way to move forward. We must face what we are afraid of, as the warrior twins did, armed with the strength of our kinship to ensure healthy lives for all relatives of the earth. Everything for everyone, nothing for ourselves. So everything for everyone, nothing for ourselves. Everything for everyone, nothing for ourselves. The good people of the earth will continue the stories that matter. The good people of the earth will carry on the collective conscience of earth and sky. Stand up if you are done listening to the monsters of capitalism. Stand up if you are done listening to the monsters of colonialism, patriarchy, and racism. Stand up if you are done watching the monsters. Stand up and tell the person next to you, I am a good relative of the earth.
I am a good relative. I am a good relative of the earth.
I will slay these monsters with you.
I will slay these monsters with you.
We will restore beauty.
We will restore beauty.
We're going to say this one more time, and I want to hear you guys say it. Meaning, with heart. I am a good relative of the earth. Look at your neighbor and shake their hand and say, I am. I will slay these monsters with you. We will restore beauty together.
We will restore beauty together. Today.
A makeshift microphone for me. That's what I love about our people. We're very innovative. We figure it out. You know, this morning I sat, my partner and our little one, our little monster slayer, and I am a mom now. Manchnika. You know, and as I was going over my speech with him, he was just like, You know, so he gave me a stamp of approval. Oh, she might. Yeah. His first words, our little one's first words, is do do da. He says do do da. And now it's nana, nana, nana. And I broke down. I broke down because, you know, I think about him, think about our many younger generation and what lies ahead for them. I need teaching to the yards and I see there. He 초당 예산이 대신 당사고 I don't father also. Ako, di ka. Pinina binda. It's a shaki. Nihimate ko asleep kung kan. Yego. Ako siya we. Nashing ko palit. Nasko. Paying na. Pero don't do that. Listen ko. Even na teacher on me, I yelled you. On me, I saw Zigo. He's the way he should end up. Joe Ake and William. I don't understand him, she, and the go. Yes, because she Jonego, Nash Ego. Yeah, the hit you try, yeah, team, so the simple. In the bed, I see now. So, when I mentioned that it's about us as a collective, when I talk about it's not just a word that carries, that's just tossed around. My grandmother brought me up very strongly under those values and teachings. And she lived it in every aspect of her life. She lived it even as she herself experienced racism, even as her grandchild experienced it. Being not alone left me, yet go on the hill. Now it's end on Jonigo. You got in that vision to the team because on the way, we can push on, call on Jonigo here in that he had on the Yod and he needs to do a